Hi, everyone. This is Garrett English again from CBU Study Abroad. So this is part two. In part one, I covered how to start the CBU Study Abroad application process on calbaptist.terradotta.com. So this section is basically once you've been accepted in the program, where do you go from there? So this is part two. So what happens is once you submit that first part, the registrar's office reviews, our office reviews, and once you've been approved and they finish reviewing your courses, your application will actually be marked as accepted, and you'll be notified by the system that, hey, your application status has changed. So once you go back onto calbaptist.terradotta.com, make sure you log in, and you're going to want to go to applicant, which is on the top left corner. You're going to want to go to my applications, and from there, find your application. So here I have multiple applications. I've started applications for a lot of programs. In this case, I'm going to want to go back to CBU in Spain. And you can see on the right, it says accepted, view decision letter. So there's a letter, electronic letter that goes out from the system just saying you've been accepted to the program. So I'm going to click CBU in Spain. Now I get a program application page that now says post-decision. Before it was pre-decision. So again, that's just because you've moved into the second phase of the application. You've been accepted. Now there's forms you have to complete before you leave on study abroad. So you can see that I've finished all the signature documents. Learning content assessments are all marked as received. Most of the forms from the first part down to step 3 are completed. So what you're going to see is you're going to see all these new forms that you didn't have access to before. So there's flight itinerary, there's international insurance and on-site emergency contacts, medical info, passport info, permission to release information. There's step 4, University Registrar, study abroad course approvals, administration fills out only. There's step 4A, University Registrar, final course selection and registration. Step 5, financial aid, award amount and signature, and visa upload. There's also the decision letter, which I can go in and look at, but again, that's just for fun. That's not really helpful for this video. So the flight itinerary, the international insurance and on-site emergency contacts, medical info, passport info, I'm not really going to get into those. Those are pretty self-explanatory. Basically, you're filling out any medical information the university should know. Say you got into a situation abroad, you were at a hospital, you needed help. We do need this information so we can communicate that to your program or work with your family. Flight itinerary, that's something that students usually don't complete until the very end of their application, just because purchasing a flight comes a little bit later typically for students when they're really sure they've finished all their details. The international insurance and on-site emergency contacts, we do want to make sure that you guys obtain international insurance. A lot of the programs will provide a basic plan, but it's always good to be prepared. If you were to get hospitalized abroad, you would still get charged, and so having insurance would cover you. It also covers you if there's an emergency, you need to be flown out. That can be really expensive, but if you're covered under international insurance, it won't be. Say you did get injured as well, this would also cover, parents or family flying out to see you and staying at a hotel. So another thing it would also cover, if there's a disaster, maybe there's riots or conflict, or God forbid a war that broke out, it would help you get out of that country. So international insurance is really important. The on-site emergency contacts are also important, both for yourself and for us, knowing who do we get a hold of, who do your family get a hold of, who do you get a hold of when you're leaving for the program at the site. So that's really helpful. And passport information, you want to make sure you have a passport. You also want to make sure that you're looking into the visa situation if you need a visa, and we're here to support you in that. So for the sake of this presentation, I'm only going to go into basically looking at your course approvals once the registrar's office has reviewed that. And again, if you're in the accepted phase of this application, you will see that check marked because they have reviewed it. So go ahead and click on step 4, University Registrar, study abroad course approvals. And it should say admin. You're not supposed to fill this in. So typically the registrar's office will either fill out the study abroad courses one by one, or they'll just attach a PDF. So right here I have test registrar's course review. So I'll click that, gonna open up a new tab, and there's like a little message that the University Registrar looked at my courses. This is what they've come back with. So you can see I submitted study abroad courses on the left column: cross-cultural leadership, history of Spanish civilization, Spanish politics in the EU. So that was what I submitted. The registrar's office here on the right-hand corner has come back with their equivalencies back at CBU. So when your courses transfer, what are they going to count as? So you can see foreign language 1, so the first level for foreign language, upper division history elective, and upper division political science elective. They're 3 units each. So on my end, this looks great, and I'm ready to move forward. But for a lot of students, hey, they were hoping that that Spanish civilization class was going to actually count as not just a upper division history elective, but actually a special requirement from their history department. And so the registrar's office doesn't look like they counted it as that. So this is where the students can go to their dean and say, hey, this is what the registrar's office came back with, what my course is going to count as. But I know you said that it could count as this requirement. Can you give me a variance? And that's when you go through the variance process and submit that. But you're not going to submit that until after you finalize your courses. So let me just show you what that final course submission looks like. So after I've done that, I'm going to go back to my application. I've looked over what the registrar said it's going to count as, and I'm going to go to step 4A. So this is basically your response to the registrar's office. Go to step 4A, and it has instructions on here. It basically is advising you, make sure that you're also chatting about this with your academic advisor if you haven't already, and you are really taking a look at this. So I'm going to go in here and say, okay, I'm looking at fall. The final course I want to submit, and I agreed with, that was good. I'm going to copy over cross-cultural leadership. And I'm entering the study abroad course number. So let's say, and I didn't do that in the test one I submitted, but it's cross-cultural leadership 1. And it's going to count as foreign language 1, which doesn't make sense. But again, this is just a test for you guys, showing you how this works. And that's going to be 3 units. So I'm going to fill that out for the first step, the first course. And then I want to take history of Spanish civilization. So I'm going to also put that in the second line. And I'm going to say that's 1. And if you guys don't have the course number, that's okay, but we prefer as much detail as possible. So history of Spanish civilization 1, that's an upper division history, and that's 3 units. So the other course that they reviewed, Spanish politics in the EU, I'm only going to be there a short time, so I don't actually want to take that. I just want to take these 2 courses. So this is basically, again, your final response to the registrar's office. How many final units is that? Well, that's 6 units. And again, let's just pretend that I'm going only for a short time. I'm not doing a typical study abroad. I'm also going to sign down here that I certify that I've reviewed that, I've looked it over, and I'm going to submit. Okay, so that's going to be marked off now. And so now basically what that means is that you've registered with CBU. CBU knows that that's your final course selection. They're entering that into the system, and you're officially being marked as a CBU study abroad student. So one thing I would let you guys know is when you're on Inside CBU and you see that the university has recorded you as study abroad GST 198 or 398 or whatever the code is, don't worry, that's just the designation. That's like the placeholder saying that you're still a CBU student, but you're going abroad. So they're really going to go off of step 4, what they said those courses were going to count as, and what you submitted on step 4A. That's really what they're going to go off of. So after you submitted step 4A, you've looked over step 4, make sure if you want a variance, this is when you do it. So not until you've submitted that with the registrar's office. And let us know as well, so we can be part of this process and basically support you and back you up if you need if you do need some assistance there. And also make sure that later when basically make sure that later on you're also going in here, completing all your forms. Again, going through these learning content and assessments if you do need some last minute information, but you're clicking on step 5 just to see what financial aid award you were given. Again, you won't complete this financial aid will. So this is where you can kind of see how much you're getting for your experience. But once you've finished everything, make sure to click submit forms, and you're gonna now move from accepted status down here to committed. And then finally, let us know if you have any questions. We always have a pre-departure orientation before you leave. We go over safety, health, everything, culture, everything you should know. We usually have like an alumni there, study abroad alumni that can answer questions, and it's really helpful. And remember, that is a requirement. And we also we need you guys to check in when you get there. We're checking in at least once a month with you. It's not a lot, but we just want to make sure that you guys are okay. And remember, this is a CBU program, so even if you're going to another university and it's through Veritas or Living and Learning, it's still one of our partner organizations. So you're still part of, we still consider it part of CBU. And last note on your guys' courses, if anything does change while you're abroad, maybe you have to switch courses, maybe your course got canceled, you have to change to another course, let us know. Don't try to work this out on the back end when you get back. That's not gonna be fun. You wanna definitely figure this out while you're abroad. So if you're graduating, or if you need to sign up for classes for next semester at CBU, that's not gonna be impeded. There's not gonna be any obstacles. All right, thank you guys so much, and let me know if you have any questions.